In our first story, we must guard against religious chauvinism. That's the call of Minority Leader Harun Idrisu as he joins thousands of Muslims to celebrate Eid al-Fitr today. His comment comes on the back of the prevention of Muslim students in Wesley Girls High School from observing the Ramadan fast. Harun Idrisu believed the decision of the school, which has been seconded by the Methodist Church, has the potential to spark an interfaith row in the country. He's also been speaking about the arrest of 2 City FM journalists by national security operatives last Friday. He fears Ghana is gradually becoming a police state. He spoke to my colleague Manuel Cranting at the Lamishegu Park in Tamale.
This is not the normal Eid al-Fitr prayers that we'll see in the years past, 2 years and so beyond. Tell us your own reaction about to this one.
We are still, as a country and as a people, as you listen to the Imam praying against the ravages and impact of COVID. And we've prayed to Allah wa Ta'ala to protect our country, Ghana, and its people from the disease called COVID. And we've prayed to Allah wa Ta'ala that He saves our people. We have successfully completed the pursuit of Ramadan in fulfillment of a major pillar of Islam. It's my prayer and belief that the values and discipline that characterize Ramadan will characterize our life beyond Ramadan. That is what the essence is. Carry that moral high, carry that discipline, and let it guide your life. We ask for Allah's forgiveness. We ask for our own forgiveness against our own trespasses. But we live in extraordinary times with COVID. But there are worrying developments in Ghana, which points to.
And that's one thing I'm going to ask you, of course, that this year's celebration has not been without, specific events. For instance, in Wesley Girls High School, we're hearing that Muslims, they are not being allowed to say their prayers and they're not being allowed to fast, as it were.
We need to guard against the emergence of religious chauvinism in Ghana. And we must all jealously protect and preserve the peace of our country, the harmony that exists. Ghana has a reputation of peaceful coexistence and religious tolerance. We do not need to engage in any action that will undermine that respected reputation of our country as an oasis of peace. We should not sacrifice a peace on the altar of religious differences, but fundamental human rights and freedoms, including the right to freedom of belief and freedom of conscience, are not divisible rights. And therefore, every Ghanaian is entitled to the full benefits of those rights, including Muslim girls and Muslim boys. We simply demand respect to that inalienable constitutional right of the right to believe and the right to freedom of conscience. It is not a right that is divisible. And as I said, it's important that we preserve the peace of the country, we continue to coexist, and we continue to tolerate each other even in our differences. Let's not undermine the peace of the country on the altar of religious superiority.
But how do you react to the argument that indeed, just as we talk about rights, the church, for instance, also has a right to establish institutions to further its cause and so on? That's the argument that the Methodist Church, for instance, makes, that this is a school that we have established to, as it were, expand and propagate the message of the Methodist Church. And for that reason, they're claiming that right. Is this something that you don't agree with?
I said every Ghanaian child, including the Muslim child, has the right to the benefit guaranteed under the 1992 Constitution, including the right to freedom of belief and freedom of conscience. That right, in my view, is vested in that young man. He has that right.
Some journalists with CTFM, City TV, just quickly, I just want to pick your thoughts on that. But they make a point that he was filming, in an unauthorized zone, a security zone. You've heard that. When you heard it, what was your initial reaction?
Nana Addo Dankwa and his MPP government is reducing Ghana to a police state. And that is not acceptable. The rise of journalism to film is to provide evidence of what they have seen and to report what is real and what is practical, what is wrong. I think the excesses are getting too much. This government must watch it. I at least expected that this will happen under Nana Akufo-Addo as president of Ghana. He probably was only preaching and preserving fundamental human rights and freedoms, only seeking office of president, but not serving with respect for those rights and freedoms as president. That's very disappointing, and those journalists are entitled to practice their trade and vocation freely without any interference. Independence Square.
Well, this was at the National Security Installation at Bluegate.
National security installation, and it is a way that the arrest could have been done, not in a manner which protects the dignity guaranteed in Article 15 of the Constitution. Must they read them in that Gestapo style, as if they were reading another Radio Gold?
Now, the National Chief Imam, His Eminence Sheikh Osman Nuhu Shaributu, has called for unity and peace as Muslims across the globe mark the end of the Ramadan fast and celebrate Eid al-Fitr today. He was speaking as the National Virtual 2021 Eid al-Fitr celebration.
Kwanaki ne cikin kwanaki da yake ya fiye kwanuka da yawa. Allah ya wajibta mana mu ci abinci a yau.
Hello.
Ya haramta mana yin azumi.
A day like this, obligatory on us to give charity to be given to the poor and the indigent.
Mu yi kokari mu fitar makawunan mu.
Therefore, left endeavor to give the charity.
Ga wanda ciyar da shi ya tabbata a kanka.
For give it out on behalf of those who are dependent on you.
Namiji ne ko mace.
Males or females.
Da ko bawa.
Free person or a slave.
Karami ko babba.
Young or old.
Mu daɗin kanmu al'umma annabi.
It is our happiest day, the ummah of the Prophet Muhammad.
Ci gabanmu.
Our development.
Samun ci ɗaukaka wurinmu.
For our elevation depends on how united we are. So we can attract something good for our nation and for ourselves. So we can prevent the occurrence of evil. Let us purify our hearts of envy. That is when we become righteous people who are pious. Let us become like one body. When one part of the body is afflicted, then the whole of the body becomes afflicted. That is the way we must live. Let us be supporters of each other. Anything that will bring hardship and destruction to our nation Ghana, let's prevent it. Let us attract things that will be good for our progress. Whatever intentions the leaders of our country have by implementing certain policies, we pray that Allah will support them. If you have heard that the pandemic is spreading in some nation, don't rush into that place. Where you are and the affliction happens, don't rush out in order to infect others.
Addressing the gathering, President Akufo-Addo wished all Muslims well and also touched on government's transformation agenda.
On this Eid al-Fitr day, it is worth reminding ourselves that our national constitution guarantees freedom of worship for all its citizens. Article 21C states that all persons shall have the right and freedom, quote, to practice any religion and to manifest such practice, unquote. It is also probably worth pointing out that religious tolerance in our country did not emerge from formal law enforcement or from the Constitution for that matter. It is one of the admirable features of the Ghanaian that we have always had respect for each other's belief systems. We should be proud that our national constitution simply reinforces these characteristics, and it should therefore be easy for us to uphold these basic and fundamental tenets that hold us together. The boarding schools in our country have traditionally served as the training grounds in learning about each other, about tolerance, and losing the fear of the unknown. That is where young Ghanaians learn to eat each other's food. That is where they learn the songs and dances of the different parts of the country. That is where they learn about each other's religions, and that is where lifelong friendships are forged. These schools must necessarily have rules and regulations that enable them to function. It would be a strange child that does not find some school rules irksome and then look back on them with fond nostalgia in later life. Throughout the years, the schools have by and large managed to find a reasonable, balanced atmosphere to enable our young people to flourish, and this has served us well. The schools have evolved and adapted their practices to suit the times, and I would urge that we do not turn them into the places to fight ideological and religious battles.
President Akufo-Addo there ending his speech with a call to educators not to turn their schools into a place to fight ideological and religious battles. Speaking of education, though, let's take a stop on the NSMQ train in Fanspim School, Adisado College, University Practice SHS, and Asin State College will later today battle for the bragging rights as Central Region's National Science and Maths Quiz champions. Fanspim School overturned a 4-point lead by St. Augustine's College in the final round to win their contest, which also featured Wesley Girls High School and Swedru SHS. University Practice Senior High School also managed to cancel a 3-point lead by APAM SHS in the last round to qualify for the finals. Let's cross over to Maxwell Agbagba, who is in the Central Region for us. He's joined by the quiz mistress for the Southern Zone, Dr. Thelma Ohini-J, and Samuel Adjo, who is with Primetime Ghana, organizers of National Science and Maths Quiz. Maxwell, must have been an exciting 2 days for you.
Exactly. Excitement, spirited contest, and some shockers, as well here in the Central Region, like we witnessed in the Greater Accra region. But today, like you rightly mentioned, we are crowning the Central Region champions. Sometime last week, we crowned the Greater Accra Regional Champions. Persec Legon, they asserted their dominance, not just as national champions, but also as regional champions. But we're asking which school is going to take it this year in 2021. We know that in 2019, in the maiden edition of the Central Regional Championship, it was St. Augustine's College that won the maiden edition. The second one, 2020, Wesley Girls High School won it. Which school is going to win the Central Region title in 2021. But talk about Wesley Girls winning it in 2020. I have an old student here with me. She's also the quiz mistress for the Southern Sector. She is a lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Pharmacy, Dr. Telma Ohineji. I also have with me Stephen Ajo. He's with Samuel Ajo. I keep saying Stephen. He's with Primetime Ghana. Let's find out from them what the contests have been so far. Doctor, welcome to JoyNews.
Thank you.
Okay, let's start with Gay. Old student. Yesterday we saw your performance against the Fancy Pim School. What was it like for you?
I've learned to detach a bit from the school, so I sit there not as an old student, but as the quiz mistress. But for me, I have a special heart for the girls in the competition and for girls studying science. So whenever a girls' school comes, I'm sitting on tenterhooks, quite excited, waiting to see what happens. And so I was disappointed, not because it was Wesley Girls, but because it was a girls' school. Just as I was for Holy Child, I have been from Fancyman. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing because I'm looking for the day where the girls would really come up top. And that's why last year I was absolutely excited when Wesley Girls as a girls' school won the championship. But I think yesterday they were a bit underwhelming. I'm not sure whether they weren't very prepared or, yeah, and Infantsipim just showed that they were ready, they were more determined, they really wanted the win. So yeah, as disappointed as I was that a girls' school didn't come up top, I was absolutely happy that it was Infantsipim because I think they just proved their mettle. They were just on point. So yeah.
Over 2 decades of the National Science and Maths quiz, we've not seen any girls' school winning the trophy. Of course, in 2020, the Central Regional Championship, Wesley Girls won. What possibly could be the problem? What could be the challenge?
I'm not sure, but if we talk about it, and if you even see the schools that are coming across, but you realize that there are more boys' school than girls' school, of course. So if we're doing mathematics, and let me do a bit of my quiz mistress stuff here. If we're doing math, the probability is higher than that a boys' school will win. But yes, so I think there's a bit more work we have to work with the girls. Probably their confidence, their readiness, their speed. So yeah, I'm hoping the teachers and the trainers of the girls' school at least take this on, because it's not about knowing. I'm sure the girls' school, every school actually knows, but it's about the strategy. The strategy. So your speed, your determination. So you are not overwhelmed when you seem to be coming from behind. So yeah, I think these are the little things that probably they need to work on. And I'm really hopeful very soon we'll see a girls' school winning. Okay. Yeah.
We're hoping to see that day too. But let me come to Samuel Ajo. He's with Primetime Ghana. What will be your assessment of the competition so far here in the Central Region?
Well, as usual, Central Region always brings about a lot of excitement. During the qualifiers, we saw some, and predictably, schools that we believed they could win, they did win. But moving on to the Region Championship, which we must be grateful to Absa Bank for sponsoring, we still were expecting a lot of excitement, just as Dr. Ohineji said. The Fancy Pims and the Central, when considering the kind of performance they put up, shows that they were ready as compared to the girls' schools. And even the so-called less endowed schools, school like APAM, SHS also put up quite a brilliant performance. It's just that they were unfortunate not to have won their contest. So overall, and then you can look at UPSH, that's University Practice. I mean, they were quite exciting right from the first stage, and to get into this stage, I believe that something great is going to happen at the finals of the Absa Bank Central Regional Championship.
Let me find out from Doc. You have always talked about how you used to admire Professor Ramadan, who was also a quiz mistress, and now you have the opportunity to also be a quiz mistress. Can you tell us about what it was like sitting back, watching her on TV when you were young, and then now having the opportunity to also do that?
So it's one thing that overwhelms me every time I think about it, and also when I talk about it. Because I remember when I was really young, just sitting behind the TV, and every Saturday, 11 a.m., you see me behind my TV waiting. And I always thought, wow, look at this woman. I mean, in my childhood mind, I thought she knew all, she set all the questions herself, answered everything. I was like, what a brilliant scientist. And I thought to myself, I'm just going to be like her. So she was really instrumental in my studying science, my being very advocating that women can also be in science. So like I always say, there's a power of representation. Sometimes when younger people or anybody at all sees somebody in a place they wish to be, it gives you more confidence. And I mean, the day I was asked if I thought I wanted to join the NSMQ, and I was like, wow, you people don't know what you've just done. So I only hope and pray that somebody else is looking at me and thinking that, oh, maybe I can be like this woman one day, I can love science as much. So whenever girls come to me after the competition and they are just happy, I want to be like you, what do you do? I admire you. I was like, oh wow. And I always say this is a chain reaction that is going on. So in another 20 or 30 years, I hope there's a younger girl who come from this and say that I watched Dr. Hineje and this is where I am. And I'm sure wherever Prof. Rama Adi is, may her soul rest in peace. She'll be excited at this development.
Great. Mr. Ajo, let's wrap up with the competition for today. We have the finals today. What should we expect?
I mean, it'll be fireworks as far as I'm concerned. Seeing Adisada College and Fancy School, University Practice SHS and the Asin State College. I mean, they've shown the pedigree. I mean, as far as the contest is concerned, they've shown right from the qualifiers up to this stage. And so naturally, we have we have one seeded school that's at Adisada College, coming against 3 schools who came from the qualifiers.
Yesterday, in Fancy School, I mean, they were able to beat 2 seeded schools, Wegehe and then Augustins.
Yeah. So it's Adisada against 3 schools from the qualifiers, as in Fansipim, as Asin State College, and the University Practice SHS. So, considering what we have written so far, all I can say is that they're going to be fireworks. And I want to say a big thank you to Absa Bank for sponsoring this championship for Central Region.
Okay, thank you very much, Samuel Ajo. Doc, let me wrap up with you. Any message to the girls, the competing schools?
All the best to the competing schools. I mean, there are more girls' school coming to the national, so I hope they put in their best, prepare, develop their strategy, and maybe this is the year we'll see a girls' school or a lesser known school winning, and for any of that I'm happy. So
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. So you just heard Dr. Thelma Ohineje. She's a quiz mistress for the Southern sector. She's also a lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Pharmacy. You also heard Samuel Ajo. He is with Primetime Ghana. It's just a countdown to crown Central Region's champion. But you want to know their journey. Those in the finals, we have in Fansipim School, we have at Adisada College, we have Asin State College, and then we have University Practice Senior High School. This is how they got to the finals. Fansipim School has qualified to the grand finale of the 2021 Central Regional National Science and Maths Quiz Championship. Well, they did that after beating 2 seeded schools, St. Augustine's College and then Wesley Girls High School. There was a 3rd school, Sweden SHS. They beat them to qualify. They came all the way from the regionals. They qualified to the 2021 main competition in October yesterday, and now they've qualified to the grand finale of the championship. Congratulations are in order, right?
Yeah, sure.
Tell me, what was the feeling like? At the end of round 3, you were behind by 4 points, and then you were able to overturn things in the final round 4, to win with how many points? 3 points.
Well, first of all, we think everything is grace. It was grace from round 1 through to the last round, which was the round 4. And it's an amazing feeling. And we think it's just like our coordinator always says. Every quiz is a quiz. Going into the quiz, give your best, and nature will reward you for your good work. So we think our teachers and everyone did their best, and we went there to give our best, and thankfully it has paid off. So we are very grateful, and we hope that the grace of the Lord will continue to be with us.
So what should we expect in the grand finale? And Disco is in there. Any message for them?
Well, we don't have any message for any particular school, because just as I said, our coordinator always says every quiz is a quiz. It doesn't matter which school you are going to meet. Just go in there, give your best. So we are coming tomorrow to do the best we can, and we hope that the grace of the Lord will be with us and we'll come out victorious tomorrow too.
Let me speak to your coordinator. How excited are you?
It's a mixed feeling. Coming back, I was there in 2019. It wasn't a pleasant feeling to lose to our sworn rivals, but I think it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
At the regional level, we really don't. That's not our target for now.
Yeah.
Though it's a good thing to win against one of our sworn rivals. The bragging rights all over the place, but our target is tomorrow and then subsequently the nationals.
Okay.
And we hope that God will see us through. God will see us through.
Is Disco another rival?
And this score is, but as the boy said, we take a contest at a time, and then we give off our best, strategize for every contest we go into. That's all we have been doing, and God is gracious unto us.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you very much.
University practice, they've qualified to the grand finale that will be happening on Thursday. After round 3, they were down by 3 points. Yeah. And then at the end of round 4, they came up by 3 points.
Yes, I'm an old boy. Okay. Yes, once I was also a teacher there some time ago. What's the University now? Yes. In fact, the feeling is so high. But we are much excited. You see, when it comes to science and math, as I told you yesterday, we have a history in it, so we don't joke with it. You see, we see Apom was just small boys for us, so we are hosting, we are winning tomorrow. Yes.
So what should we expect in the final?
Oh, I really appreciate the effort of Apam Senior High. They are good, but they cannot defeat UPSHS because UPSHS is indisputably unbreakable.
Yeah. What should we expect in the finals on Thursday?
Oh, the finals, we are going to win it. We are going to win it. We are going to beat them with a wide gap. Not just we are going to win it, we are going to win it with a wide gap. Yeah, that's all.
Guys are good.
Interesting journey there, Maxwell, that you chronicled. I don't know what you observed, but it looks like Central Region has had a lot of dramatic comebacks.
That is very true. We've had a lot of dramatic comeback here in the Central Region. And even for the points accumulation, we've had some very high scores here in the Central Region. In the Greater Accra Region, we didn't have any school getting up to 60 points. But here in the Central Region, we've had University Practice, SHS, they had 67 points. In Fansipim School also in their contest, that was at the qualifiers, they had 66 points. Of course, we are not shocked. We are not shocked about that. The Central Region is considered the bastion of senior high school education, in Ghana, and you expect that kind of performance, from the schools here. One school in particular that has shocked a lot of people is Saint States College. How they managed to get to the finals of the championship. They put up some very spectacular. They put up a spectacular performance at the qualifiers and then also at the championship. In fact, in 2020, Saint State College is the school that made it impossible for infantiman girls to get to the national competition last year. And it looks like this year also they've caused a lot of upset here, in the competition. In fact, Infantipim School, St. Augustine's College, many thought that St. Augustine's College were going to win the contest because at the end of round 3, St. Augustine's College, they were leading with 4 points. 4 points, not so comfortable a lead, but they were in the lead, and many expected that in round 4, which was just 4 questions, they will, continue with that lead. But in Fansipim School, they were able to overturn that and then later win the contest. Not many expected that. Also because Wesley Girls, they are the defending champions, 2020 champions.
Now, Maxwell,
St. Augustine's College, they won the maiden edition in 2019.
Now, Maxwell, I can't help but remember the analysis that you were bringing in earlier. Last year, Presec Legon won their regional championship, won the nationals. 2019, St. Augustine's College won their regional championship, won the nationals. In fact, when Wesley Girls won the Central Regional Championship, they still, in 2020, they still pulled a feat by being one of the first few girls' schools to progress as far as they did in the number of times that they have done. So it looks like for the Greater Accra regions and the Central regions, I mean, with all respect to the other regions, there is something to be said if you're able to pick up the regional championships. You know what I'm going to say, because there's no secret. There's no secret where my allegiances lie. But what do you think is happening really in the Central and Greater Accra regions?
Well, exactly, Daniel, I agree with this analysis. And also, let's forget about your biases for Infant Spim School. You're an old boy, we understand. But yes, indeed, this analysis are true. So if you are to follow the trend, if you are really to follow the trend, we can say that Infant Spim School will be a force to reckon with in this 2021 national competition. And we can confidently say that, you know, after the win, if they are able to win the championship, that'll be happening in about an hour and 30 minutes later. But they are definitely a school to watch out for. In 2020, we couldn't say the same about Infant Spim School, but this year, I followed the National Science and Maths quiz for the past 4 years, and I can confidently say that it is a school to watch out for.
We can't jinx it though, but it's still, you know, prepping to be one of the hottest contests. Tell me how Infantiman did not make it into the national competition. 3 years in a row is a big deal, but is it more of a story of, you know, how the schools we call lesser known are coming out and showing their strength, or there's a bit of weakness somewhere?
Okay, one thing that I've learned from my experience covering the National Science and Maths quiz is that you cannot really rely on your past experience. And that is because unlike football teams where we have the players playing for a longer time, maybe for a period of 5 years or 6 years, a lot of people get the opportunity, contestants of the National Science and Maths quiz have the chance to represent their schools once or twice. So sometimes they are in form second year, they get a chance to represent the school. Third year, they get a chance to represent the school. That will be twice. But if they're in your final year and they represent the school, that means they're going to move out for another school to come. So it's more dependent on the strength of the individual contestants. And that is what I've seen so far. So you cannot say that because Presec Legon won last year's competition, they can win this year's competition. Because the contestants for last year have faded out. They've moved out of the school. These are new contestants. You'd have to judge their strengths on, you know, on the level of the contestants, you know, themselves. So one thing that gives you an idea of the performance of the school is how they perform at the regional championship, and if they are coming from the qualification stage, you can judge from the regional, you know, qualifiers. But Infantiman School, Infantiman Girls, SHS, it appears they are just suffering from what all the girls' schools are experiencing. Usually, if you speak to the quiz mistress herself, you speak to people who have followed NSMQ, they tell you that sometimes the confidence level for the girls is not as high. It's not as high. You know, as powerful as we'll have from the boys' schools. The boys' schools sometimes they are down, but they are still fighting. Sometimes, you know, the audience, even in the auditorium where the quiz is happening, can't even be intimidated for the girls. So there's a lot of factors.
Interesting, Maxwell. It's such a great conversation about the National Science and Maths quiz. It comes every year like Christmas. And thanks to Prime Time and all the sponsors. So, what are we fixing to do now, Maxwell?
Well, it's the countdown to the finals. We're going to get ready. We'll start moving to the auditorium. But for now, on News Desk with Daniel Das, with yourself, I'll be going for a break. We'll come back and we'll continue.
You're welcome back to the Eid Mubarak edition of News Desk. Many thanks to Maxwell Agbagba for doing us the honors earlier. Let's move to some other stories. And the NPP's Kwame Japong is scheduled to enjoy his full benefits as former General Secretary of the governing party. This is after the National Executive Committee unanimously agreed to reinstate his membership following the indefinite suspension slapped on him some 6 years ago. Some NEC members who argued in favor of the former General Secretary insisted he has remained loyal to the party in spite of the suspension. That's not all. It was also established that whilst serving his suspension, Mr. Japong contributed in diverse ways, including financial support in building the party at the constituency and regional levels. This NEC believes is worthy of emulation and thus granted him his request for a review of his suspension. National Chairman of the governing NPP has been speaking exclusively to my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
Last year, before we went for elections, Kobna wrote that he wanted the suspension to be reconsidered because, according to him, he believes that with the suspension on, and it means as a general secretary, then at that time that
was in 2015,
was quite some privileges, some rights attached to past general secretaries. He couldn't attend NEC meeting, National Council meeting, and others. And he is a very loyal party member, irrespective of what had taken place, for which he believed he's had enough punishment for, and for that reason, the suspension must be lifted with regards to his rights and privileges. And this, yesterday, after a long discussion and consideration of the matter, it was unanimously decided that the suspension should be lifted, particularly in regards to his rights and privileges as a former General Secretary of the party. That's what took place.
So he's going to enjoy all the full benefits of a former General Secretary in the party?
Definitely.
I see. But were people opposed to his lifting of the suspension?
I wouldn't like to go into that. I've just told you that it was unanimously agreed that that's what should happen.
But were there
definitely
key factors for consideration as far as this lifting of the suspension is concerned?
Definitely. I mean, you wouldn't take a decision in vacuum. A lot of other factors were taken into consideration.
Like what?
For example, it's been since his suspension even, and more particularly before the 2020 election, December elections. He's been going around campaigning for the party. He's been seeing the company, particularly of the first gentleman of the land, the president. And from all indications, he's been funding or helped to raise funds for some particular constituencies in the Upper East, Upper West Ashanti, and other places that I might not have been aware, but some people came up to testify, give evidence of his support for the particular constituencies. And based on that, it's good enough. In any case, it's been 6 years, and the suspension can't stay ad infinitum. It's been decided to lift. We want people, and indeed, some even argue that Kobna Japong has been a member of the party for long. He's been a spokesman before. He's been served as a spokesman for the former President John before. He's paid his dues. He might have faltered for one reason or the other, but now he's made up for whatever it is, or punishment has been given for a couple of years. It is better he's allowed to come and play a role as a full member and loyal member of the NPP. That's what happened.
And this decision was taken last night. Has it been communicated to him, Mr. Japong himself? Or was he at the meeting back?
He wasn't at the meeting.
Okay.
Yes. But definitely to be communicated to him. I believe today, tomorrow, very near future to be so.
So going forward, what do you expect from him now that he has been, his suspension has been lifted? What's the party expecting from him?
Well, into his commitment to the party, his loyal service to the party, and whatever position that he find himself in, and whatever situation he find himself in, he will fight to raise the reputation, to raise
Freddie Blay also revealed that the party has adopted the report by the Yawasafo Committee established to probe the loss of some parliamentary seats in the 2020 polls.
It was a voluminous report that had been brought.
But you have the highlights clearly.
He gave a snapshot of it, the methodology, what was done, how they arrived, the places that they went, and the conversation that they have with the various individuals, how they went about it, and so forth. He briefed us and made a few recommendations, which we haven't discussed, because we needed to read it. At least the leadership of the party will read the report itself, and then they will therefore interrogate it and discuss it in detail.
But you have adopted the report?
Why not? Been given to us, we have adopted it, we received it, and adopted it.
And will you ensure that all the recommendations in the report will be fully implemented?
I'm saying that we are now going to have the benefit of reading the report, voluminous report. We will inform ourselves, analyze it, look at the recommendation based on what they have gone round to make, and then if we consider them weighty, good, and appropriate, useful, definitely we will seriously consider the implementation of the recommendations.
You're live on JoyNews desk. It's the holiday edition, and Daryl Carl has the latest business updates after this.
Happy holiday to you. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The Ghana International Trade Commission has invited leadership of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, to interrogate the illicit dumping of substandard goods by foreign retailers. The emergency meeting will also see a review of the framework that guides the benchmark value for imported goods into the country, as Ghana loses close to $5 billion annually to unfair trade practices. There's more in this report.
Union of Traders Association has warned that any attempt by government to increase the 50% benchmark value will have a dire impact on the trading community. Already, the Association of Ghana Industries AGI warns this reviewed alert that a reduction makes Ghana's ports less competitive. This, the president of GUTA says, is unfair and inimical to importing traders.
It will be callous for any group to call for the reversal of the 50% reduction of the benchmark value, which has helped in resuscitating businesses in no small measure. Already, due to the above stated factors, prices of goods and services are escalating in the market, and any attempt to reverse the policy will result to unbearable hardship to the general public.
The infiltration of Ghana's retail space by foreigners, the illicit dumping of substandard products, as well as the issue on the benchmark values are, among other factors, stark challenges for the average Ghanaian trader and importer. Dr. Joseph Obin questioned government's quest to flush out alien and undocumented retail traders. He believes a lot has not been done, despite the establishment of a task force to deal with the matter.
In fact, we were relieved when the committee started work to enforce compliance with the law on foreign retail trade in the country. Unfortunately, however, this very important operation halted for no apparent reason. This issue of foreigners in retail trade business has not only persisted, but also increased, thereby sparking agitations among members of the Ghanaian trading community.
So far, the Ghana International Trade Commission has opened investigations into what Guta alerts as a growing trend of Ghana's retail space inundated with underpriced and substandard products.
We attach here too copies of our invitation to a consultative meeting with the Ghana International Trade Commission on the matter, as well as the response of Guta thereon for the perusal of the media. On that note, we wish to appeal to the government to be wary of elements within the private sector or the state who may want to use their status and in society to sabotage innovative policies of the state and create confusion in the country.
Guta says it is working to draw the attention of the economic management team to these challenges faced by Ghanaian traders.
Now, in other news, despite the country's power challenges, Ghana is ranked 9th in sub-Saharan Africa with the highest value of energy and utilities infrastructure project pipeline. That's according to Moody's Analytics Infrastructure Key Projects database. Charles Nixon has more.
The country's energy and utilities infrastructure project pipeline is valued at about $13 billion. It also boasts of the largest renewable project pipeline in sub-Saharan Africa in the name of the Adan Esuchari Tidal Power Plant, followed by Northern Cape Solar Plant in South Africa. The electricity penetration rate presently hovers around 84%, placing it number 1 in West Africa. Despite this, the nation has gone through power fluctuation issues over the years, a challenge which has not seen much improvement. This is partially because the power sector has been saddled with debt, as total debt is estimated to hit about $5 billion by the end of the year. This situation, if not tackled, could make it difficult to replace obsolete power infrastructure with ease. The current power generational capacity is almost 5,000 megawatts, which is adequate to supply electricity to the whole nation. But the distribution and transmission capacity is limited because the equipment are old. The report said Nigeria hosts the highest value of energy and utilities infrastructure project pipeline in the region. It is followed by South Africa and Zimbabwe.
And that's your business update. There's more coming up after this break.
Welcome back. Let's do some sports before we wrap up. Black Stars head coach CK Akono has pleaded with Ghanaians to be limited in their criticism of the team. The Black Stars in recent years have received a lot of negative reviews following the 2014 World Cup fiasco and poor performances at the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations. According to Akono, the bad energy around the team is affecting their performance and has urged Ghanaians to tone down the negativity towards them.
Our team might not look attractive to you or to any of you here, but once we decide to work hard, come together as a team, as a unit, and this goes to all of you here. We need all of you, your support. The negativity is just too much. And so I plead with you. I'm not asking you to, I'm pleading to all of you, to stop the negativity. Start believing in us. Start believing and be positive about the things we do. When I was growing up as a footballer, it was you guys who made me great. All of you here. Well, probably at the time when I was playing, most of you will not be. The likes of Kwabena Yeboah, Kartufuo, and they encouraged us. This time around, things have changed, and I plead with all of you to be positive. Yes, there are negative in what we do. Criticize us positively. And we will find the right channel to go about this. But everything is achievable.
Now, meanwhile, 8 home-based players have been included in Charles Akono's 30-man squad for the upcoming friendly games against Morocco and Ivory Coast. The coach rewarded most of the home-based players by calling Razak Abalora, Ibrahim Danlad, Ismail Ganiu, Joseph Ejay, Rashid Note, Gladson Awako, Philemon Bafor, and Abdel Fattah Isahaku. So So there you have it on your screen. The full squad for CK Akono's international friendly matches. Baba Abdul Rahman, Gideon Mensah, well, Baba Abdul Rahman is a PAOK. Alexander Jiku from Strasbourg, Daniel Amate from Leicester City, Asante Kotoko's Ismail Ganiu, Joseph Ejay from Legon Cities, Nicholas Opoku from Amiens FC. Right backs are Andy Yadom Redden, Philemon Bafor from Dreams FC. Let's look at the other players who will be featuring in CK Akono's 30-man squad. Left wing Samuel Owusu of Al-Feiha FC. Emmanuel Jesse from Spezia, Frank Champon from Shenzhen FC, and Brentford FC's Tariq Fosu. Mubrak Wakaso, usual suspect in there, Gladson Awako, Baba Idris, Emmanuel Lomote, Abdel Fattah Isahaku, Kudus Mohammed from Ajax Amsterdam, doing amazing stuff there. Thomas Partey, of course, Arsenal's golden boy, and Rashid Note of the Western region's finest, Midyama SC. Right-wing players are Kamal Soa, O.H. Leuven, and Kamal Dean Sulemana from North Jayland. The forwards, a lot of familiar faces in there. Andre Ayew, Jordan Ayew, Kwame Opoku, and Joseph Pinto. Godspeed to the players and all the best to you. That's it for this bulletin of News Desk. Up next is the delightful Mapito Sididi, who brings us Joy News Interactive. I will be back at midday. See you then.